1st, Arts from a Distance. Happy Jazz Appreciation Month! We are excited to welcome back Harvey Cummings for the first virtual adaptation of our annual The Standard program. Enjoy this journey through history and influence of jazz, accompanied with live music, demonstrations, and deep dives into the rich culture of jazz. We hope you enjoy.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? My name is Harvey Cummings. I'm a producer here in Charlotte. I'm a musician, live in Charlotte, and I'm here with the Standard. Introduced me to the piano, and from there. What's going on, L? I see L right there. What's going on, L? Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Harvey Cummings, and welcome to the Standard. I am an award-winning saxophonist, composer, musician, producer, and I hail from Charlotte, North Carolina. I've been playing music since I was 3 years old. My mother introduced me to the piano, and from there, it began into the saxophone. My musical journey started when I was around 3 years old. My mother, she's a pianist. She taught me how to play. And from there, it went into private lessons until I got to kindergarten when I saw the Charlotte Symphony, and they came to our elementary school, and it was like a music day. They brought up the instruments. This is a clarinet. This is a tuba. This is a trumpet. This is a saxophone. And I'm looking at all these instruments like, okay, like as a kindergartner, I'm like, okay, that makes me want to be interested in music. And, I kept it going. 4 years later, I'm performing for President Obama and Oprah Winfrey and touring with TLC and doing these nice, cool things. But it takes me back to that time when I was in kindergarten and I saw the symphony. So that's where I decided to start the Standard, because I wanted for other kids to get introduced to music, to have that exposure to music, especially jazz. It's a dying art breed. So the premise of this program is to educate you about jazz. We're going to start all the way back from Africa. And I also want to give a special shout out to my band members, Braxton Bateman on trumpet and keys, Stephen Gordon on keys, Malcolm Charles on drums, and Butler Knowles on bass. Thank you guys. Thank you to the Gantt Center for allowing me to do this program continuously. Thank you, Devant Health, for just sponsoring this. Thank you, Family First. And no further ado, this is the Standard. Here we go. So long before John Coltrane, long before Miles Davis, long before Charlie Parker, Louis Armstrong, pretty much the music started from Africa. All right, so music is comprised of three components. You have harmony, you have melody, and then most importantly, you have rhythm. So we're going to take you all the way back to Africa because that's where the rhythm came from. You had different tribes, Zulu, Igbo, all these different tribes in Africa. The basis of rhythm was the drum beat. The drum beat djembe, to communicate. This is how call and response is born. Kumba lafia, ashe, ashe, so stuff like that. So when these Africans got captured as slaves and they were put on boats and they sailed across the Atlantic, the United States wasn't their only drop-off point. I mean, you got the whole African diaspora is what we call it. We're all over, from the Caribbean to the West Indies to South America to everywhere. So all of that lineage is coming through. And one of the biggest ports in the United States at the time, especially down south, was New Orleans. New Orleans has, to this day, a vast history, especially when it comes to music, because those roots come from even back in those times. So, of course, the music that the Africans had before, they were captured, they brought all of that to wherever they came from. And then New Orleans mixed up with the rhythm and a lot of the European music. You began, syncopated rhythms and their own version of it, and it pretty much became ragtime. You had ragtime, you had trap. New Orleans jazz has always been festive. Two key players of New Orleans music is Jelly Roll Morton and Louis Armstrong. So New Orleans has always had the bounce music, even now, from Lil Wayne to Big Frida and artists like that bounce music is continued through this day. So we're going to perform a song. It's a New Orleans staple, and it's called Bourbon Street Parade. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so around the mid 1910s, 1915 to be exact, 1916, that area, a lot of African Americans migrated up from the South to places out west, to the Midwest, and eventually up north, Philly, New York, up that way. We call that the Great Migration. And one of the places that they most was Chicago, of course, but also Harlem. So we're going to talk about the Harlem Renaissance. The Harlem Renaissance was a time, especially in the 1920s. A lot of African Americans, the art, the music, the dance, everything was put forward. You had poets like Zora Neale Hurston, Countee Cullen, Langston Hughes, and you had musicians like Cab Calloway and Duke Ellington in particular. So let's talk about Duke Ellington for a minute. His name was Edward Kennedy Ellington. They called him Duke because he was very sophisticated, very debonair. So Duke Ellington wrote well over 2,000 pieces of music, 2,000 compositions, including the one we're about to play right now, which is one of his most favorite songs. And it is called Take the A Train. Enjoy. So all the way up until probably like the 1950s, jazz was considered a dance music. You could dance to Duke Ellington stuff. You could dance to Cab Calloway and all these other musicians like that. It was a dance music. The Savoy, the club Savoy that was popular in New York. Beyond that, it definitely took a turn with artists such as Charlie Parker and the bebop movement. Now, bebop is called bebop because it was the bebop, bebop, bebop. Bebop was a very genre, especially in the 1950s. It was with the very fast rhythms, the very fast chord progressions. Didn't really dance to it as much. You know, I wrote a paper in college that talked about how Charlie Parker killed jazz, since jazz was originally a dance music. So we have some bebop examples. We're going to play a song called "Lady Bird" by Tad Dameron, and also we're going to play a song called "Anthology" by Charlie Parker. So. Yeah. Hey, what's going on, y'all? Just want to know if y'all had any questions or any comments or questions pertaining to like jazz, to any kind of music, to my saxophone, to different instruments. We just want to know. The floor is open to you. If you have any questions at all, just feel free, and I will give them to you. But in the meantime, let me tell you about, okay, can you move my computer? Yeah, I can move my computer. All right. So this is my saxophone. This is a King Super 20 saxophone. It's like a 1960 something saxophone. It's an alto. You can look at the neck. You can see that it's an alto. It's got just a regular curved neck. Got my reeds, got everything else I need. Has buttons and pads, and you use a reed to play. So you get all that together, you can so I can get around and do like different notes. If I want to go up, go that high. So this is the alto saxophone. It's got a good different range. I'm gonna point you to who are some jazz musicians that you think are underappreciated and more people should listen to. This is from Cara Levine. What's going on? Oh, this is Cara Levine. What's going on, Cara? Who are some jazz musicians who are underappreciated? I'll go back historically, and then I guess to the current. Unappreciative. Just underappreciated. Horace Silver. He wrote songs like Mika's Dream, and Horace Silver was very underrated. I felt like Sonny Stitt. He came out of Charlie Parker's shadow. Even though Cannonball made it, Sonny Stitt I feel is very underappreciative. Even cats now, just underrated. I like I've been listening to like Braxton Cook and like Kamasi Washington. I feel like these cats still need their just due. Terrace Martin, Kenneth Whalum is really dope. But just in general, a lot of musicians came after, like that shadow, it was like the shadow. It was like, you had Miles that was blown up, and then we got movies and stuff now about Lee Morgan. We don't talk enough about Freddie Hubbard. We don't talk enough about these people. I mean, we learn them in school, we learn them different things. But, Kirk Whalum, Joshua Redman is definitely one of my favorites. But I guess somebody to check out now, check out like Kareem Riggs. He has a drummer. He's doing a lot of hip hop projects and jazz. But that's what I feel is like that's definitely like underappreciative cats that just need their due, Cool. And then let's see. Hold on. Let me see if I can get L. You here, man? Elazar.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So I got L. He is actually live from Baltimore, Maryland. He's gonna just talk about the trumpet real quick and just things about the trumpet.
How y'all doing? It's Elazar Schaefer here. Elazar Schaefer. And I play the trumpet, obviously. The trumpet is a very difficult instrument, brass instrument, wind instrument. Really gotta, all the pressure comes from right here at your lips. If you can make your lips buzz, you can blow a note, you know? You won't be able to play without a mouthpiece. You need a mouthpiece, get a mouthpiece, you know? 3 valves. Trumpet is a B flat instrument, meaning that piano plays a B flat, I play a C. So it's a whole step up. Trumpet is a whole step up. It's what I would consider it is probably, I say it's the most difficult brass instrument, but then again, there's a trombone. So I'm not even gonna go there. But some of your best trumpet players, when I saw your question, Cara, Miss Levine, when you asked about who's underappreciated, there's so many, all jazz musicians are underappreciated if you want to get technical. But if you want to speak about today's musicians, he mentioned Braxton Cook. Braxton Cook is a phenomenal saxophonist. He's amazing. And I think everybody tends to overlook Robert Glasper's genius because he's in so many circles. And I think a lot of the younger crowd just, they know him so well that the older cats don't know him that well. But Robert Glasper, Braxton Cook, and on trumpet, Keon Harold Jr. He's an amazing trumpeter, Keon Harold Jr. Him and Kenneth Willem are actually tight like that. Keon Harold Jr., check him out. Joseph Leemberg, he's amazing. He's world class as well. Check him out. And the trumpet, wind instrument, got to tighten. You're blowing a lot of air in a small space in order to play your notes. So without lots of practice, it's kind of tough, you know. But I'll play a couple of things for you real quick. That is the trumpet.
Hey, is the appreciate you, El. Definitely want to add to the list of go back to the underappreciated. We have a colleague, a friend of ours from Charlotte by the name of Ashlyn Parker. Man, Ashlyn Parker is the head of this movement we call Trumpet Mafia, where it's literally, it could be like 20 trumpet players on stage at one time doing some music, but it's a global community and gets a lot of love from the ones who came before us, like Nicholas Payton and these cats. He's wearing a Trumpet Mafia shirt, clearly. So we definitely represent. We definitely support. We support. It's a like you said, like jazz music in general is definitely unappreciated. You look at, it's harder to find more jazz radio and different things in these playlists, but like through like vinyl's been alive. The vinyl sales, you can always find jazz is still doing things. Just it's gotta take the next generation to continue to get the flag going and carry the flag. That's what we're doing. Even with this, like we just want to keep lineage going, keep that. We want to preserve this art form as much as we can. Probably got time for like couple more questions, maybe like one more question. We're gonna keep the program going, and then the opportunity to ask some more later on when we conclude. I'm just gonna give everybody, if they need like one more, you can just type it in the chat. Any question, it could be whatever, about music, jazz, what's going on in Charlotte, different things. I want to talk to y'all. Okay, cool. So we're going to take it back to the recording. We're going to take it back. And like, once again, like all the stuff, this video and this presentation, like all this was made exclusively for this program. It was exclusively, in-house from the Gantt. So definitely want to keep that in mind. So we worked really hard on this in the team, but we're going to keep it going back to the presentation, man. We're going to the 1960s. Called it hard bop. It was different from bebop. It was more of a slower pace. Blue Note Records was founded around that time. A lot of those artists were bop artists. When we think of bop, we think of Coltrane, we think of Miles Davis, we think of Thelonious Monk. The music was very modal, like it stayed the same. It was probably like one chord for like the entire half of the song, and then it was just like free expression, especially in Coltrane's music. So we're going to talk about Coltrane. John William Coltrane was born in North Carolina. He was born in Hamlet, North Carolina. He was raised in High Point, North Carolina. From there, he went to Philadelphia and New York and such like that. But he was a tenor sax player, tenor sax, soprano, very relevant. Coltrane played with a lot of emotion. He set the bar when it comes to like free jazz. Next, we got Miles Davis. So Miles Davis is one of my favorite trumpet players. He was definitely raised in Illinois, grew up in St. Louis, went to Juilliard School of Music. From there in New York, played with a bunch of cats, and he set the tone. His simplicity, his sound, he made the mute famous to me. When trumpet players put the mute inside their horn and created that horn. One of my favorite albums was definitely Kind of Blue by Miles Davis. And then next we have Thelonious Monk. Thelonious Monk, the pianist, was actually born in North Carolina. He was born in North Carolina. He had a very distinct style. His hands were very big, and he would use a lot of dissonance when he played, a lot of close notes and things like that. All right, so the next song we're going to play is one of my favorite songs. It's called Gingerbread Boy. It's by Jimmy Heath. Check it out. So pretty much well into the 1970s, jazz started to get more electric, like the electric instruments, the synthesizers, the keyboards, the electric guitars, all the different types of instruments. So one of the big genres of that time, we call it fusion, and it's exactly what fusion is when you fuse different things together. So we took the jazz and mixed it up with different styles like electronic. We mixed it up and it sounded more R&B even then. Fusion artists were taking the music and elevating it and stretching it as long as they could. When we think fusion artists, I mean, first off, what comes to bat for me is Herbie Hancock and rest in peace, Chick Corea, the great Chick Corea. Both of these musicians were virtuosos in their own work. I mean, even back in those albums during that time with Herbie Hancock, he was using, the talk box or the auto tune. He was using that stuff back then. The Sunlight album is very reminiscent of what you hear today with Robert Glasper and artists like that. boom, 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 boom. What? I got a question of why I specifically chose to play the saxophone. Oh man, I specifically chose to play the saxophone because my uncle, my uncle played the saxophone. This is my mom's brother. He played the saxophone. He played in high school. He really played in college like that, but he played enough for. I remember when he played, and it was just like I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I picked it because like this is me being in fourth grade. You know, I thought I would get girls. I was like, I can play saxophone. This is all. This is real talk, real talk. This is like 9-year-old Harv. But I'm glad I stuck with it. Just like I said, I played all of them. You got alto, you got tenor, you have a soprano, you have a bari. I've played all those horns in college. I guess I'll move to the piano as well, man. I got my keyboard here as well. You see the keys. 8 keys mostly. This is a smaller keyboard. You know, the higher you go, the lower you go. Yeah, so that's his keys. It's A Train, Duke Ellington. I was looking like, what? but that's what we do. I started doing that. I played keys first. Then I jumped to sax, and I used everything I learned about the keys. I use it on sax. So if you're a kid and you're watching and you want to learn an instrument, just you can go in and get proficient in piano. Let's see here. What would you say to someone just learning to play? What would I say to someone just learning to play? That you're not going to sound good overnight. So how can you learn faster? Simple ways. You're gonna need you're gonna need the instrument, number one, and you're gonna need at least like a method book, things like that. Well, you got YouTube as well. Like YouTube, you can find. Like I have students that just learn all their stuff on YouTube. But to get better, you would just for saxophone. It's not about how like fast you play. It's all about the practicing. It's about holding the notes. Like we call it long tones. You gotta, I'll spend a lot of time just holding this note. Like I'll go through all the notes just to get an even tone because I'm focused about my sound. I want a good sound, and then when I do that enough, like that's the equivalent of working out and like bench pressing and doing all that. So it's like, this is a muscle as well. Like it's muscle memory. You got to really to learn faster. Have a if you're in a program or have a teacher, a private instructor. That's one thing. Just putting hours a day, putting a set time. If it's 2 hours a day practicing, an hour a day reading, but it's reading, it's learning, it's listening. I listen to a lot of music. Because listening is half the battle as well. You got to hear what you got to play, and just know from there. And just staying with it. One note at a time. All right, Shape, anything for you? You got anything?
Yeah. So I saw someone asked about who has been your most inspiring artist to you? Oh, well, that's an easy one. The reason why I play the trumpet is because of a man named Miles Davis. He was just way too cool, like way too cool. Like he used to turn his back to the crowd and play his instrument just to his band. He wasn't even playing to his band. He was playing to himself. He didn't care. It was an empty room to him. He did not care about the crowd. He didn't care about anybody that was on this. He cared about the people that was on the stage, but he didn't. You understand what I'm saying? So to Miles Davis, he was just too cool. Like Harvey at 9 years old talking about he wanted to play saxophone for girls. He's ahead of his time with that one. It's just like Miles Davis was ahead of his time. Miles was way ahead of his time. He wrote so many tunes that we all listen to today. And I mean, yeah, I mean, another inspiring artist, a guy that I played with for approximately 2 years, Roy Ayers, who's probably one of the most sampled musicians in the world, and he's still alive at Roy is pushing 80 now. Roy is pushing 80 and still killing on the vibraphone. You know, he's amazing. Okay, so demo something from my favorite. Okay, I can do that.
I was trying to. Just something.
Oh, Harvey, real quick. It says, do you have any motivational tips to play music? Because I really felt like playing my bass the last couple of months. That question is from Jayla Marish. Jayla, I hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm so sorry. Do you have any motivational tips?
Motivational tips. Like I said, one note at a time. Like real talk. There's a lot of notes, but if you just take one note at a time and then get to that second and just get that, and get to that third, or just stay on it. Just realize why you picked it up. Realize why you love music. Like that's always motivation for me, is just like, you know, especially now at my age, like I'm writing a lot. I'm writing a lot for upcoming projects, and I'm just, it is hard to stay motivated, but you gotta think in the future. You already gotta
self-motivate. Jayla,
Yeah.
if I could say anything about motivational tips, is just being an instrumentalist or musician is just like everyday life. You cannot be afraid to fail. Like, you have goals, you set goals daily or weekly, and you aim at them. And if you either hit or miss, but be okay with that. Just know that you put your best foot forward, you put the work and the time in, and it will come. No fear of failure. You want to do this, you do it. You understand? You just try as hard as you can, and you will be good with that. You know that you know when you put your best foot forward and you put your heart into something. You know when you did it. Now, if you don't complete the task, so to speak, or it didn't come out how you wanted it, that's okay, because that's exactly how life is. You understand? But when you put the work in and then you actually get it done, what you were trying to do, that goal, it feels so much better. And then it's on to the next goal. Never settle. Work hard, baby.
Come on, work hard, baby. I guess the original question was the inspirational, like who's inspirational to me. There's different facets of it, from a songwriter, from a composer aspect. Quincy Jones, by far, Quincy Jones, the greatest songwriter producer of this generation. Period. Point blank. Period. Like Quincy, he's the reason I keep just watching that documentary. Like, I keep my manuscript paper on me. I always have to write. He was always writing. Like, it's a skill. That's a lot. You still got to write. As far as that, like Quincy, he inspires me so much on that. But it's just like, I'm getting older. I listen a lot, just playing wise, man. Like Grover Washington Jr. lately. Grover Washington Jr. was a brilliant saxophonist who was, of course, jazz trained and do everything else, but I'm inspired by him because he shifted as well. He wasn't in one bracket as well. He did a lot of R&B music. He did like Essence of Go-Go and all these different sounds that Grover Washington is doing. I know we love to listen to Mr. Magic and those songs like that, but it's just like Grover had a pocket. He had a groove, and it's just like a lot of people took that approach when it comes to, like, especially like they're improvising and stuff like that, and just listen to Grover Washington Jr. Definitely, he's inspired. And then even like the hip hop guys, like Kanye West, and Jay-Z, and all these producers, Pete Rock, K Tronada, some really dope producers who dabble in jazz, who have a good appreciation of jazz. Ninth Wonder, cats who know it, and I'm inspired by them. Yeah, man. I think we're going to wrap up in a few. I just want to say my thank yous real quick. Like I said, just want to thank the folk at the Gant. Definitely want to thank the team. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, Feeny. Thank you, Benita. Thank Elazar. Thank my band members.
Greetings from Holland.
Talk about the importance of the Gant Center. Number one, the Gant Center is the Harvey Gant Center of African American art and culture. It is the leading force in this city when it comes to like our culture. Like, we have plenty of exhibits up now. Lift Every Voice and Sing. There's always exhibits. There's always something to do. You can become a member. There's days where it lets you come. You'll have different incentives for that and all the different events and social things as well coming out. But it's also just good to support. It's just good to just be in the know and support. And we've always supported the GAN, even when it was back at the old, Little Rock Center. You can go to gantcenter.org to support, to give, to do anything, to just support, and to know what kind of other exhibits and other virtual events and things like this go on. So, because it's always like that. We're trying to do good for Charlotte. We're doing our job as artists to do the work to make it happen. And the Gant has been a place to do that. So always shout out to them. Just thank you everybody for coming. Thank you for just learning with us. Thank you for your questions. And hey, you love the webinar. Thank you. And we'll try to do more of these. And this is the first go around. So once again, my name is Harvey Cummings. You can find me online at Harvey Cummings online on Twitter and Instagram and all the social media. We always post what we do. Hit up the Gant Center, of course. And until next time, thank y'all. Peace.
Joining Family First, Arts from a Distance. We hope you enjoyed this afternoon's program. Please be sure to like this video and subscribe to the Harvey Began Center's official YouTube page for updates on future workshops and other programs. To continue the free programs that highlight some of the best in Black arts and culture, please consider supporting the Gantt Center via our Text to Give platform by texting Unmasked to 345345. We help further our mission. All contributions matter and truly make a difference. Visit our website, ganttcenter.org, to see all of our upcoming programs.